Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and welcome back to another episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed and see how well each movie did, so let's get started. Number 5 was The Black Phone, making $12 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $49 million and a worldwide total of $77 million. So despite being on the lower end of the top 5 charts, this film actually held pretty well this weekend. It only dipped 48%, which is a very good hold for a film in its second weekend, and an especially good hold for a horror film in its second weekend. Word of mouth is really helping this movie out, as this adds to my case that this is really solid counter-programming for the horror fans, and I think it's got enough leverage to leg out for the rest of the month until other big horror movies start coming in and filling movie theater screens. But as far as everything is going right now, this film is already a massive hit. It has more than doubled its $18 million budget right now, both domestically and worldwide, and it's going to continue to make a profit for itself for the weeks to come. This movie really is doing very well for itself. It is already the 7th biggest movie of the summer, topping Downton Abbey: A New Era, the Bob's Burgers movie, and Firestarter. And if it can manage to keep doing as well as it can, I think it's definitely going to be a very big sleeper hit at the summer box office. Don't know if it's going to crack the top 10. I think it might come close, but even with that, that is still a very solid run for this movie. And while it is certainly not going to be in the top 5 for any time soon, given, well, where it's at and the number of new movies hitting theaters for the rest of the month and the summer, that still should not disparage how successful this movie already is and will probably continue to be, as I think it's definitely going to leg out outside the top 5 and continue to do very well. So I definitely think this is a movie to keep your eyes out on if you're really interested in seeing how well this movie's going to do for the rest of the summer. I think it's got a shot at being similar to what Everything Everywhere All at Once did back earlier this year, where while it wasn't a huge blockbuster, I think once again it's going to be a really decent sleeper hit. So as far as everything's going right now, The Black Phone is doing pretty well. Number 4 was Jurassic World Dominion, making $16 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $335 million and a worldwide total of $831 million. So yeah, I definitely think we are at the point where the film is going to slow down. It's already below 20 million in its theatrical run right now. It's certainly not doing what Top Gun Maverick has done for the past several months, which we'll get to, trust me, we'll get to later. And I definitely think a certain other film hitting theaters this weekend is definitely going to damage this film's box office success very soon, but more on that later. But honestly, who cares really? It doesn't really matter. This film has already made so much money. It has already surpassed 800 million worldwide, and it's halfway of getting to, why did I say halfway? I meant almost, nearly about to surpass the Batman's 369 million domestic run. I'm not sure if it will actually get to that point though. I think it might get close, or maybe it might have a shot at surpassing it. You never know. Strange things have happened before, but I definitely think it's going to end up around that range at the box office, and I can definitely see the film surpassing 900 million worldwide, which is definitely not a bad total to be at, because let's just face it, once again, like with Doctor Strange, $900 million worldwide is still $900 million worldwide. And once again, while that might make this the lowest grossing out of this new Jurassic World trilogy, again, it doesn't really matter. I can't see anyone being upset with how much money and how successful this movie already is, with it being Universal's biggest movie of the year and already the 3rd biggest movie of the summer and the 4th biggest movie of the year right now. I can't really see anyone being upset where this movie's at. So yeah, not much more else I can say here. Jurassic World is still being a really successful movie. That's about all I can say on that matter. Number 3 was Elvis, making $18 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $71 million and a worldwide total of $118 million. So despite falling from number 1 to number 3 this weekend, this film was actually able to hold better than I expected at least. It dipped just around 40%, which is a very solid hold, especially when you consider the fact that this is a movie aiming for older audiences. The fact that I was able to keep the the older audiences coming back to see this movie or just see it for the first time in general is a really good sign of movie theater recovery. The fact that they're willing to return and see these movies, not to the same degree as some other movies, but just the fact that I was able to hold better than something like Downton Abbey: A New Era shows a good sign of recovery. And this film is already still doing very well for its budget. It's already about to surpass its initial budget of around $85 million, which is a very good sign to say the least. And it's already surpassed that worldwide. All it has to do now is double it. That's going to be the interesting thing. We'll see if it can manage to do that. I think it might have a shot at doing that. It may linger in the top 5 for a little bit. It's really going to have to depend on if these older audiences will continue to come back, because once again, like I said earlier, there's a lot of bigger competition on the horizon for the rest of the summer, and that might hurt this movie a bit. But if it can manage to put up at least a good decent fight, I think it has a shot. It's already the 6th biggest movie of the summer right now, topping the previously mentioned Black Phone, as well as, once again, Downton Abbey, Bob's Burgers, and Firestarter. So that's a good sign. We'll see if it can manage to stay in the top 10. I think it's probably, much like the Black Phone, going to linger in and then fall out of it, or just come very close to the top 10. That's just my thing, but once again, I've been wrong before, so we'll just have to see how well this movie's done. But as far as how it's doing right now, I think it's off to a pretty decent start, and it's still going to continue very well. At the very least, I think it's got a shot at performing similarly to Rocket Man, because not only are they musical biopics, but they're performing in a similar manner in my eyes, at the very least. So yeah, Elvis is doing pretty decent so far. Number 2 was once again, and the previously mentioned earlier, Top Gun Maverick, making $25 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $571 million and a worldwide total of $1.1 billion. At this point, is anyone really surprised anymore at how well this movie is doing? Like, seriously, are you shocked? Are you speckel-dwarfed or flabbergasted at how well this movie has done for the past several months now? It dipped 14% from last weekend, everyone. Just incredible. Absolutely incredible. And the fact that it's only around about 30 million away from surpassing 600 million domestically, which chances are it's going to surpass, because nothing is stopping this movie at this point, is just incredible. I have truly no words to describe how unbelievably amazed at how well this movie has done, and I'm sure the rest of you are just as amazed as I am. Truly a phenomenon, a movie unlike any other, I should rather say. Just bravo. Nothing more else I could add to this film's success that I haven't said already. Just job well done. And finally, let's end the video off with the number 1 movie of the weekend, and that was Minions: The Rise of Gru, opening with $107 million this weekend, and including its 4th of July numbers, that adds to a domestic total of $125 million and a worldwide total of $218 million. So bear with me, folks, because there is a lot to break down here. Obviously, this is the biggest opening weekend for any animated family film post-theater closure era, topping both Lightyear and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It is the 5th biggest opening weekend of the year, as well as the 6th biggest opening weekend of the post-theater closure era, behind Top Gun Maverick, The Batman, Jurassic World Dominion, Doctor Strange, and of course Spider-Man No Way Home. It is the biggest opening weekend for any film released on the 4th of July weekend, topping Transformers Dark of the Moon's $100 $115 million July 4th opening weekend back in 2011. And it's the 9th biggest opening weekend for any animated film of all time, behind Shrek 2, Toy Story 3, the first Minions, Toy Story 4, Shrek the Third, Frozen 2, Finding Dory, and The Incredibles 2. As well as it being Illumination's second biggest opening weekend of all time, obviously behind the first Minions, you can pretty much tell that this was a huge win for the studio and just animated films releasing in theaters in general. The fact that this movie did as well as it did shows that families are more than eager to return to the movie theaters, as there was a lot of speculation going on about how well this movie would do, not just from how animated films were performing during the post-theater closure era, especially with how Lightyear kind of disappointed, but also given Despicable Me 3's opening weekend numbers, as it kind of dipped below Minions and Despicable Me 2. While that film still made a lot of money, it was kind of a step down from the huge numbers those movies made. But yeah, this film was able to exceed expectations by a long shot, and given that the budget was only around 80 to 85 million, it has already doubled it worldwide, and it's definitely going to continue to profit from there on forth. Families are certainly making the majority of this up. I am certain without a shadow of a doubt that the majority of kids in America were begging their parents to take them to see this movie, as well as other generations of people were excited to see this movie, specifically teenage boys, for whatever get famous on TikTok reasons that may be. A lot of people were excited to see this movie, and it really paid off. I think the marketing was just superb. They really got the word out. I mean, it is an Illumination film, so obviously the marketing was going to be everywhere. The reviews were really solid. In fact, they were better than the previous two films in this franchise, Despicable Me 3 and the first Minions, which, even though these films are clearly critic-proof, that is definitely a positive sign, and audiences certainly really liked it. It got an A on CinemaScore, which is really solid for an animated family film, and I'm certain it's going to leg out very well, and it's overall the 4th biggest movie of the summer right now, as it has already surpassed the entire theatrical run domestically of Lightyear. That is incredible. If you told me that Minions would be able to surpass that movie earlier this year, I would have called you insane, but here we are, and I'm certain it's going to become not only the biggest animated film, but the biggest family film of the post-theater closure era, as I'm certain it's going to top Sing 2's entire domestic theatrical run by maybe even just a couple days, and I'm certain it's probably going to surpass Sonic 2, maybe even by the end of this week. And while it is a much crowded summer movie season for animated films, as including its opening weekend, this movie has only 2 weeks before the next animated film, Paws of Fury. Boy, the competition's going to be really rough when that movie comes out, let me tell you. I still think this movie is going to do very well because, well, it's already done so well, but I still think that families are eager to go check this out. I'm certain they're all going to rush to see this 2 billion more times. And overall, yeah, Minions: The Rise of Gru is off to a pretty solid start, and I look forward to seeing how well it continues to do for the rest of its theatrical run. I don't know what else to say, but we are living in the Minions world. And those were the top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, but we're not quite done yet, as we've got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters. And this weekend we only have one new major release, and that is Thor: Love and Thunder. So not much to discuss here in terms of predictions, because honestly, I think that this movie is just going to have a really big opening weekend. Honestly, I think it's going to have the second biggest opening weekend of the year behind Doctor Strange, because while it doesn't have this, in my opinion, the same level of a hype and anticipation that film had, there's still a lot of buzz and excitement going on for it. The marketing has been great as well, been seeing tons of promotion all over the place, and just the fact that Taika Waititi is back bringing his signature filmmaking skills to the MCU is also what's making this a lot of interesting for certain people. I don't know why I worded that worded that way. I apologize. And just the fact that other characters will be returning, like the Guardians of the Galaxy and Natalie Portman as the mighty Thor, that's going to be really interesting to see on the big screen. Yeah, once again, not much else to say here. Lots of good things going on with this movie that are making people really excited about it. At the time of writing this, there aren't reviews out, so we'll see how those affect the film in any way, shape, or form. But if Jurassic World could cross 800 million worldwide, I don't see why Thor will be affected by mixed reviews, regardless of where it lands on the positive or negative side. It's an MCU film, so people are probably going to show up in droves to see it this weekend. And yeah, I see very good things for Thor Love and Thunder. But we'll see how well this movie truly does, as well as the rest of the films that land in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied, unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.